Hello everyone, you're listening to the Earful Tower podcast. My name's Oliver G. This is a show about Paris. If you're the kind of person who likes Paris, if you're the kind of person who likes podcasts, then you've come to the right place. Today's guest is Caroline de Maigret, and we're going to be talking about Pigalle, her new book, and a lot more. Before we go anywhere though, I just want to say a thank you to the sponsor for this whole season. That's My Private Paris. They do custom tours, boutique tour agency. You surely are familiar with them by now. But I asked Bertrand, who runs the company, I said, how would you describe the 9th arrondissement in 30 seconds? And this is what he said.
The 9th arrondissement, le 9e, for me, it's the one arrondissement for people who love the 19th century. And it's something we like very much here, especially for all its art movement. The core of it being the Romanticism, with artists like painters like Delacroix or Schaeffer, the writers Victor Hugo, Alexander Dumas, and amazing stories because it's really in the heart of the 9th arrondissement, in a part called the New Athens, that these people lived, find inspiration, and really shaped a new way for making art.
So be sure to hang around at the end of the episode for more from Bertrand, who talked about why the district is called the New Athens and a few famous faces from history. So remember to check them out, myprivateparis.com. A big thanks to all the Patreon supporters, many of whom I met yesterday in a virtual chat session. The whole day I was just online answering calls from supporters. That was really fun, helping you guys with your travel planning, talking about my upcoming book, things like that. There's plenty of perks if you sign up on Patreon. But I just wanted to remind you about that. That's how this show survives. But today, you're going to hear me and Caroline chatting. If you've been listening to the show for a while, you'll remember that this is her second appearance on the show. We've done videos together. We recorded this in her office in Pigalle. And yeah, her book, Older But Better But Older, was the book club choice for this month. If you don't know what I'm talking about when I say book club, don't worry, because Caroline didn't either. She asked me about it in the episode. That's where I'll explain it. So here we go, a chat with Caroline de Maigret, the ambassador for Chanel, a model, an author, and an all-around nice person. Let's do it. Okay.
Wow. You have a microphone recorder.
Why is that impressive?
Wow, I've never seen it.
Really?
No.
You should get one of this for your
my what?
When you're doing music and stuff. Like musicians use these to record apparently.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. I'll give you the details after if you like.
That's cool to have a big muff.
Yeah. It's good because, last time when we met, we did the interview in a cafe.
Yeah.
And I just recorded it on my phone.
Yes.
These things are amazing because they sweep away all the sound of espresso machines and stuff like that.
Cool.
So yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, okay. But we're not here to talk about microphones. We're here to talk
Too
about...
bad.
Well, you can if
That
you
would
want.
have been more exciting.
You can talk whatever you want to talk about, but I think the main idea is we're going to talk about your book, which I've got sitting in front of me, Older But Better But Older, The Art of Growing Up. And we're also going to talk a bit about the neighborhood and anything else that comes in the way. But first, it's Paris Fashion Week.
Yes.
Why are you hanging out with me?
I know, I don't know.
This is crazy.
I don't know.
Is this like the busiest time of the year for you?
Well, there are 6 fashion weeks a year.
Right.
So.
I've never understood
Yeah,
that.
that's the busiest one, which is Prêt-à-Porter.
Right.
With the one in September.
Okay, so this is just one of the minor other 5 ones, this one.
No, this one is the big one with the one in September.
Okay, jeez. Okay, well, this better be a good interview. Let's get on to the good questions. You've written a book about aging. Should we talk about the book first?
Sure.
Yeah? Okay. You've written a book about aging. I remember you sort of mentioned it on that video we did where we walked around Pigalle. Mm-hmm. Why the sudden switch from Parisians and music and fashion into aging? How did that happen?
I don't know. You tell me. Why does that happen? Why do we age one day? It's that's what happened.
Yeah.
Is you're just living your life, doing your things, and then little by little, society or just your body and your face tell you, hey, you're not part of the youth club anymore. It's like pushes you out of the club.
Yeah.
And it's a very odd thing to live, I reckon. It's and it's fine and it's life.
Yeah.
And it's completely okay. It's just all those surprises that hit you and you're like, oh, okay, well, I've got to get used to that new thing.
But they're not all bad surprises. as you wrote in the book.
They're not all bad, but no, it's just there are lots of really cool stuff, which is, you know, learning how to know yourself, learning how to know your anxieties and like feel them come and work around them, you know, and understand toxic situations or people and avoid them, and you know, you just feel much more serene and confident with time. So that's amazing, because you know you learn all these things. You learn how to say no. You learn how to push yourself to say yes to things instead of being lazy and say you're tired or anything.
I wonder if I've got a few things I'm thinking straight away. If you think aging in Paris, especially Paris, is different to other cities and countries around the world, Parisian women specifically.
No, I don't think so. I think at least here we're not as maybe pressured on ourselves as some other big cities in the world, where women have a tendency to feel that they need to stay super young, super late.
You can name the cities. What are you thinking about here?
Well, more like New York or, you know, LA or this kind of, in America maybe. And
so French or Parisian women are more like laid back about it?
I think, I think we let ourselves have a bit more flaws. That we're more okay with them. I think we have strong icons as, you know, writers or politicians or philosophers that are women that stayed like super important and interesting really, really late, or even actresses. I don't know, like Charlotte Rampling, Simone Weil, Simone de Beauvoir, Marguerite Duras, like very strong French icons that we look up to, that make you think, okay, that's what it is to grow old, and it's cool, you know, and that's what I aim to be, rather than just a perfect image, which is not doable anyway. So, but it does make you, you know, it does give you a distance with what it is to age, and it's not about your physical aspect in a way.
Sure.
Although you can still stay super classy and everything.
Well, speaking of like the physical side, do you think, because a lot of your life has been involved with modeling, does that mean that you have a different approach to the idea of aging, like physically, to what a typical other woman or man or anyone would think? Like, is it more important to you?
Well, the thing is, I'm aging at the same time as the fashion world is moving on, which is that right now, you know, they're really strong on diversity. And so, you know, you have much more older women. So I'm growing older at the same time. So, you know, I'm still a Chanel ambassador. I'm the image right now of their of the new campaign.
Yeah, I saw the videos.
Oh yeah,
cool, yeah.
and I'm in magazines. So it is easy for me right now to age, because I'm like, oh, okay, I'm still okay if people still take my photo, you know, and I'm still okay, and I'm fine anyway, and it's young. I'm still young. It's fine. I'm just talking about the process of suddenly being an adult and you know, people expecting things or not expecting you somewhere either. And it's fun, and you know, we're taking the piss of it as well, because it's more about having humor on all those things, which are fine. It's just to learn how to have a distance with it. But you know, going around the world and meeting all these women, you really feel how much pressure they put on themselves. So it is interesting, and it was interesting to write the book, because they're like, oh my god, it's my deeper thoughts that I would not express that you've wrote down, you know. So
if people who are listening to this show for the first time might not realize, there's a book club that comes with it. There's about 1,000 people in this book club. Everyone's been reading your book this month. Someone wrote the comment, "You're too young to write this book, Caroline."
But it's not about old people.
No, it's not. It's definitely not about...
It's just about growing up.
I don't know how old that person was, but maybe they felt that they were...
No, but a lot of journalists told me that at first, before they read the book. They would say, but why do you write a book about age? You know, I'm 45. I'm not 30. You know, so I'm not like super young either. But yes, I'm young. But it's just about growing up, and I think it's something that's missing. I think, like, I've learned in biology class what it was to be a senior.
Right.
You learn how the hair turns white. You learn about menopause, about all these things, but you don't learn before.
Sure.
They don't tell you that one day you're being pushed out without knowing out of your usual life.
Yeah.
Which is strange.
Is that a scary feeling?
No, it's not, because nothing is an excuse to do anything differently. It's just you have to prove it yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because people would, yeah.
You said you'd test me on the book because I told you I'd read it. Feel free. Do you want to?
Okay, so there is a text that says that we've always been told, since we were little girls, that men age gracefully.
That's at the start of the book. I remember it. Yeah, go on. Yeah, I remember. And then
the grey, les tempes grises. How do you say that in French?
You mean the little salt and pepper grey bits
around
on the
the ears,
yeah.
or
the sideburns.
Yeah, the sideburns.
Yeah, and then you
that all this is really sexy. Why would that be more than us?
And then you were at like a dinner party or something, and realizing the women were actually aging more gracefully. Wasn't that how it went?
Not at all.
Wasn't that?
Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
So I was thinking.
No, it wasn't more. It was good at. It was great that they were aging great.
Yeah.
And as we've always been told that it was the men.
Right.
Which is so strange.
People,
that society puts that into your mind.
I wonder, that's not just a French thing either. I think that's around the whole world.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking, imagine that there's a blind person listening right now. How would you describe your look? Like, do you have a way of describing it to me?
Wow, I've never been asked that.
I thought that would be the first question people ask you usually.
Well, not to a blind person. Good. Okay, I'm tall. I'm a tall person. I'm a tall girl.
Yeah. How tall are you?
That's what I would say. 181, 5'10 and a half.
So for Parisians, that's pretty tall as well, right?
Yeah, I'm a tall woman.
But for Sweden, you'd be like, you wouldn't even make the basketball team.
I know. Yeah, nor Netherlands.
But do you think, yeah, that's true. Do you think, my question is, okay, I'll rephrase it. In Paris, do you stand out the way that you dress?
I think I'm quite classic for a Parisian girl. Maybe I push it a bit more because I have the chance of working in fashion and having, people like giving me some really cool clothes.
Sure.
So I can play around a bit more. But
What? I had another question from someone in the book club, and they said, "What's it like?"
What's the book club?
So it's cool. So what I do is, I've been doing it for about a year and a half. Is every month I pick a book that's got some connection to Paris or France, and it's like a group on Facebook. Literally, it's got 1,000 people in it. So I've done everything from there's an old book I did recently called Boulevard, and it's by Robert Satie or something like that, and he wrote about Pigalle. So sometimes it's random French books, and sometimes it's like a.
Have you read the one by Henry Miller, Days in Clichy?
Should I do that?
Oh, it's so good.
Maybe I'll do that next month.
Oh, it's such a good.
So
book.
the idea is that it gives us
Last Days in Clichy.
I'll look that up and I'll put it in the show notes. But the idea is it gives people a chance to read a new book or an old classic and then talk about it, as long as there's a Parisian connection. So people have been reading this, and then I say, hey, I'm going to meet Caroline next week. If you have questions. Yeah. Oh. So there was another question for you. I think it was from Catherine Watt, who said, is it hard to co-write a book?
Whatever I do it as a teamwork. I feel much more secured that way, even when I'm directing, commercials and stuff. Right. I'm co-directing. So it's a very easy process for me. And it actually makes me feel better. For the Parisian girls, or the older but better, it makes sense as well, because when you talk about things that are so general and it's a wide subject in a way, so it's good to have someone that's different than me, who can balance ideas and we push one another a bit deeper.
It was funny, because when I was reading it, there was sometimes where I was like, that was definitely you that wrote it. And there were some bits where I was like, that's definitely not...
Okay, tell me one that
it's not even just about... It's like more factual stuff. Like, for example, I've seen on your Instagram that you've taken pictures showing a view of Paris. And then I remember there was a bit in the book that was like, I'm living on the second floor. And I felt like... You know what I mean?
Well, okay. I thought it was something more about my personality.
No, well, there were some bits for me because I've met you a couple times now, and we've done the videos and podcasts before. So I kind of like whenever I'm reading a book by someone who I've met, like for the podcast or whatever, I'm thinking of them.
I know, me too. It's
weird,
horrible.
Right? Yeah.
I know, it's horrible. I have books from friends that came out this month, and I always try to find the autobiography part in it.
Yeah.
And always seeking, because there is.
Yeah.
I mean, my book is obviously completely autobiographic.
Right.
So some stuff are mine, some stuff are Sophie's, and some stuff are other friends.
Yeah, I thought that as well. I felt like maybe it was...
But it's very intimate. So it was harder to write, actually, because I couldn't hide behind the Parisian cliché this time.
Interesting. Because I thought there was also... There is a kind of hiding, because you could write something totally personal, and anyone reading it wouldn't know if it was you or Sophie.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 50-50, but it's still, you know... So there is a kind of anonymity.
Yeah, there is still a little hiding there.
Yeah. You read a bit of my book.
Yes.
Did you picture me in it, or were you just...
Yeah, the whole time, you and your girlfriend, of course. But it's all true, no?
Yeah.
There's no fiction.
No. It's like...
No, it's really cool. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun. I really pictured the apartment as well.
Oh, really? The first one?
Yeah, it looked really cool.
In the second arrondissement? Yeah. Oh, those were different days now. Now I'm a neighbour of yours, actually, up in... this part, because I want to talk to you about this part of the world as well, and maybe let's just do that now actually, then we'll come back to Parisians and aging and that kind of stuff. But this season of my podcast, last season we met in a cafe, we talked about anything and everything. This season there's a theme, and it's the districts, the arrondissements of Paris.
Okay, which we've done.
We
for
did.
YouTube.
We did that was really popular on YouTube.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, it's like 50,000 views. For
Cool.
me that's popular. I don't know.
Great.
For a Chanel ambassador, maybe that's...
No, it's great.
Yeah, but so we talked about Pigalle. This season of the podcast, I'm going through every district, and I'm meeting with someone from that arrondissement to talk about it as well as their life. You're the lady for the 9th.
Yes.
So I thought maybe we just spend a couple minutes talking about Pigalle. What do you think of this neighborhood? Do you think it's as sort of neon, seedy, sex life kind of place? Music young and cool?
No, it's not touristy. I mean, what's touristy is probably 100 meters square, which is the Moulin Rouge, and maybe a few sex shops. But this is only... It's a very small space of the 9th, you know. And it's funny because it's a few streets from my house. Yet I never see it. You know, I'm just never there on the Boulevard de Clichy. It's not, you know, and it's not very appealing to me anyway. So to me, it's more about cool restaurants, cool kids, lots of bars, lots of venues for concerts, lots of music shops.
You said that to me in the last video, that you said the cool part of town's where the music shops are.
Yeah.
What was the logic there again? What's the idea? Why
to have the music
cool?
shops?
Yeah. No, but why does that make it the cool part of town?
Because usually the music shops, because I told you that wherever I would travel, I would always ask for the music shops area, because usually, you know, it's in districts that are not the most hype. I mean, not hype, but rich. Yeah. Because they can't afford, because people don't buy so much music instruments anyway. Sure. So they're often like cool bars and probably like some venues around to play. That's usually where you kind of find like the cool vibe of a city is around the music stores. And that's especially like a bit down from all the sex shops and stuff into like those sort of streets that are parallel, like Condorcet and stuff like that. They become really, it's like guitar. Yeah, so that's different. Yeah, Condorcet, Martyr, and all Rue Rodier have become like the temple of the bistronomie. Yeah. They have like all these amazing restaurants, a lot of Mamiche, which is a bakery. What is Mamiche? Mamiche? Oh my god, it's at the corner of Condorcet and Rue Rodier. The one on the... Okay, so if you're walking... I know which one you're talking about. Right on the corner across from the... My god. Yeah, is that good? No, it's not good, it's hell. Why? It's anything... I mean, you just want everything from the pain bagnat, like the sandwiches, just jambon beurre, ham and butter, sandwich is crazy, from the cookies with salt on it, and everything is so good. There's always a big line.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I never
But
went
it's
in.
fast.
So I got a question for you.
Yeah.
You walk around, you eat out a lot of restaurants and stuff like that, yeah?
Yeah.
What's your logic in finding a good one?
I think the decor is very important. When you can feel when it's fake, when it's trying to be cool, but it's not authentic.
Yeah.
Usually the food is the same.
As in, like, bistro food?
It's just like trying to be good, but not. I don't know, there is something where there is a logic to things.
Sure.
I'd rather have it less cool, but you feel like it's more authentic somehow. So I would... These are the doors I would push more.
And do you just walk into them, or are you sort of more like, oh, I've seen this on Instagram?
No, I walk.
Yeah.
I push every door.
Yeah. You're a
I think
walker.
I've done every single restaurant in the night.
Because I remember when we were doing that.
I knew every place.
Yeah, when we did the walk show, it's like when we walk a talk show while walking, and you were just saying hello to everybody. It's a sign of someone who's been to a lot of restaurants and stuff. But is that...
Well, because when I like something, I get quite obsessed as well.
Oh, yeah?
Like I go back and like,
you like get to know the staff there and they treat you better. Do you think, is it a thing?
It's a nice area. People talk to each other and it's not very touristy, so there is like a kind of family vibe, you know.
And I noticed that as well, where I live in Montmartre isn't the touristy part of Montmartre. I'm just across the boulevard.
Okay.
And people tend to be really open to talking with people that are regulars.
Yeah.
Whereas when there's a lot of tourists, they can be quite short with them and just be like, serve them and get on with it. Whereas
it's Paris, you don't have the time, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, so that sums up this district quite well. I wanted to ask you before we move on from it. I'm quite curious. Those sex shops. Is it Parisians or tourists that go into those places?
No, you have everyone goes there. I mean,
do you feel like they're going to stay?
I think it's part of Paris.
You think? I've got a theory that whole boulevard de Clichy...
I know, it's going to be like... I'm so scared that it becomes like fashion stores and stuff.
You think? Because I'm noticing that some of the old restaurants and like mini supermarkets are closing and there are sort of hip restaurants are opening.
Are they hip restaurants? I don't know, I don't go. I don't go, it still feels a bit dodgy.
Well, there's some that are just a little bit further down, sort of heading east, where they're opening into big restaurants and like, cool lighting and they look pretty cool in there.
But towards Barbès.
Towards Barbès.
Yeah, that's been a while.
Yeah, but I think it's going to start moving up. And
I think that's what life is. Unfortunately, I think that's what happens to every areas in big cities.
Well, my logic is that the sex shops will be the next thing to go.
I know, that's everyone's logic.
No, I thought I came up with that idea. Okay, back to...
because I'm sure it is. I mean, they're having a hard time to live because with internet, people rather do their shopping through internet for sex shops.
Yeah.
And it's more of like, it's true that you can meet a lot of people, like for example, like soccer fans that come for a match.
Sure.
And then they go all together and they have a blast. But you also find like couples or just, people that go and, get a toy or whatever.
Yeah.
But you can do it by internet and in 24 hours.
Well, it just seems crazy that there's like 40 of them as well. Like maybe you just need 3 or 4. I don't know.
I mean... At the same time, I would be really sad to have like that it looks like any other cities with the same shops next to each other, and that it becomes a big mall. I would feel really sad.
There's the vague hint of footsteps in the distance, but that's fine because the first podcast we do.
That's Emma. She's Irish.
Ah, Irish. Cool. Lots of Irish bars up on that big boulevard as well.
Yeah, lots of pubs.
I wanted to bring up actually. Speaking of background footsteps and stuff, I tell the story often. Speaking of background noises, as you throw your telephone on the ground.
No, you know what it is? It's a hand cleanser.
Oh yeah.
I carry it around because it's Fashion Week and everyone comes from the whole world, so you have to clean your hands for it.
You gotta wear a mask as well, no? It wouldn't really work.
No, I'm not gonna wear a mask, but just clean the hands.
I tell people a lot about that story. Go.
Sorry. Il faut que je te file de la thune. Ah bon? Tu vas acheter quoi, du jambon?
Juste du jambon et du lait.
Jambon et lait? Cool. Tu prends tout bio? Tout bio. C'est génial. Merci Emma.
It's cool.
You want to keep it?
No.
No, you know what it is? Today is Mardi Gras.
Yeah.
And Mardi Gras.
Sure. Yeah.
Oh, you know, there is in New Orleans as well. But
Yeah.
so in France for Mardi Gras, kids put costumes on and you do crepes.
Yeah.
So we're doing crepes tonight.
Oh, cool.
So my niece is coming and my son is gonna do crepes.
But it's funny that we had so many interruptions in this episode because the first episode we did was in the cafe, and I tell the story a lot. I'm going to retell it again because every time I tell people, they think you're like a hero for the way that you just did the podcast like that.
Oh yeah? Why?
I don't know. Well, the story, so for the people who are new around here, is we met on a street, I think in the 9th arrondissement maybe. Yeah, it would have been just down that way somewhere.
Yeah, around Richelieu-Drouot.
Yeah, exactly right. And I was just coming from the antique shops, and I spotted you on the street, and I came up, I was with my wife, Lena, and I said, you're Caroline de Maigret, and you were like, yeah, whatever. Remember?
Did I say that?
No, I'm just kidding.
You're so rude.
No,
I
I'm just
never
kidding.
said that. That was nice.
Yeah, you were so nice. And I said,
You're such an asshole.
I said, do you ever do interviews with Australian podcasts? And you said, look, I'm pretty busy, but we could do it right this second if you want. And that's what happened. And I recorded on my telephone, and there were a lot of the sounds of the cafe in the background. And that episode's funny because when it happened, I was really nervous that all the noises and the waiter coming over, that people wouldn't listen to it or that they'd find it really distracting. But it was the opposite. People felt like they were in the Paris cafe with us.
Oh, cool.
And they were really into it. And since then, that was like a year or a year and a half ago, since then I do loads of episodes in cafes and restaurants and people's houses and stuff like that because that sound...
It gives life.
Exactly.
Like reality.
Exactly.
Okay, well, see...
Yeah, so now
we're doing crepes. Now you know everything.
Now I know the whole story. But let's finish on. Do you want to finish on crepes or aging?
I don't know. Do you have a good question on aging?
I have loads of good questions on aging.
Okay.
Not really. Let's still in a conversation. I have questions about the book. People who haven't heard of the book yet, or maybe new to you, maybe they haven't heard of you before. Why should people be reading this book? Does it relate to everybody? Is it a book for women?
What do you think?
Well, I'm not a woman, but I read it and I enjoyed it. I like that it was, it's quite, like, it's a light read in that it's not dense, thick paragraphs.
No, it's to open, to read a little.
Which is my favorite kind of thing, especially because I have a short attention span.
That's kind of like the reason why I wrote it that way. First of all, I'm not a proper writer, so but I didn't write like a whole fiction of 200 pages or in a row. I didn't build it that way. It's just ideas that I wanted to share. So it was easier to make short texts and just play around and so it is for people who have a small attention as well. But keep going.
Well, I quite like sometimes reading books that have nothing to do with me. I mean, obviously I'm aging, but I'm interested in getting an insight into the mind of
a woman.
A woman, for one thing, sure, but also Parisian women, as the rain begins. Isn't that nice? But I thought it was a really interesting insight into things that I don't think about so much. So that answers the question, I suppose.
Yeah, it's cool. I'm glad you did it for me.
I did it for you. I did it for the book
club. Did it make you laugh?
Yeah, it was fun. There was lots of funny bits. In fact, there was some I was thinking to read it. The bits that take up, for example, you're getting older when the president of France is younger than you.
I know that.
How did that make you feel?
That sucks.
Did it actually?
Well, I know he was a very young president for France.
Yeah.
I mean, we did have Valéry Giscard d'Estaing, who was a very young president as well. But politicians usually in France have a tendency to be very old. So it was a weird thing.
But did it actually make you down? Were you like, oh my God?
It didn't make me down. It's just I'm realizing more and more that I have become the parent.
Yeah. But he didn't make it easy for people because he was so young when he began. I think he was 35, 34? 39. 39?
Yeah.
So he's not making it easy for people when he does things like that. Even young people who are 25, were looking at that going, oh my God, I only got 14 years to become the president of France.
If it's something you want to be.
Not me.
Me neither.
I'm going to have to become a French citizen first. So I've got a long way to go. Okay, I've got another question. What are we looking forward to from you? I mean, I know we haven't talked about it, but you're very involved in music as well.
Yeah. No, music-wise, I mean, we still produce music for, for advertising or movies or stuff like this. Yarol does a lot of production.
That's your man.
Yeah, my man.
Mm-hmm. I saw him on the street once.
Yeah?
I almost said hello and I was like, this guy doesn't know me. It would have been weird.
Okay.
Should I have? Next time.
Yeah, he's really cool.
Yeah, I know.
He just loves to, he's like the mayor of the 9th arrondissement.
Oh, that's cool.
Like you would walk around with him.
Should I do a walk with him?
You should.
How's his English?
Oh, it's really good.
Okay, yeah.
Oh yeah, he's gonna take you to every single music store and he's really the mayor.
Yeah.
And
what would the mayor say about that?
I know, and he stops every single person saying,
really?
Yeah, he wants to talk to everyone for hours.
Oh, wow. That would make a very long video for me.
And
but...
he's really good in history, in movie, and in literature and music. So, yeah, it's going to be very interesting for
Cool,
you.
I'll do it. Put in a good word for me.
Yeah.
I know he wrote a song about you as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've checked him out on Spotify. That's cool. But so what else are we looking forward to? What does it mean to be ambassador of Chanel? What does that mean?
So, well, I'm going around the world and Chanel is a house that I'm very proud to work with. They have very strong respect for women and for what it is to what fashion is and consuming right, and so I just really like working with them. But no, my main focus coming up is directing.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm writing my first short movie right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, and I think that's really what I want to do. Almost only.
Wow, that's interesting. Mm. Is that inspired? I mean, I saw.
But I've never done fiction. I've always done videos for brands.
Right. And I know you're interested in film as well. I saw you were posting on Instagram a lot of film recommendations recently.
Oh yeah, no, I love movies, but I don't know if I'm gonna be good at it because I do fashion videos for now. So let's see. But I have a few different stories that I already have in mind that I'm writing down.
Fictional stuff.
Yeah.
How cool.
Yeah.
And when you say short movie, do you mean short, like those like?
I don't know, because the one I'm writing right now, there is a producer that really wants to produce it, but he says it should be a long one. So I don't know. Wow. I don't know if I'm ready to go straight to that already.
So it's the new, it's the what is it? The third or the fourth reincarnation of Caroline de Maigret now?
Oh la la, I don't know. I've had so many lives.
Yeah. Like
I love that. Yeah, but the thing is, I'm never scared of failure. Mm. Like I really don't care. Like if if it doesn't work out and if it sucks, and I'll just do other stuff.
Failure is someone told me recently. Failure is
a path.
Yeah, it's a sign that you're growing.
Yeah.
When you do something wrong, it just means you start getting it right.
And you're learning.
Yeah. Well, that's exciting.
Yes.
I'm excited for you, and I
Thank
hope
you.
As it continues, you keep me in mind and come on the show and tell me about how it's all going.
I would love to.
One thing I want to say before I finish. Thanks for being such a down-to-earth person as well.
Why?
Because just in general, there's I've talked with a lot of people for this show and stuff who have big followings or who do big things and they don't have any time for anyone else. But what I like about what you do is you have the time for people. But also, like for example, I've mentioned Instagram a few times, but it's refreshing that so much of your Instagram is like, check out this, check out that, and just buy my clothes or buy my look or whatever.
Yeah, no, it's about sharing.
Yeah, so I think that's really cool.
I think
so thanks.
It's funny because sometimes people don't realize that you never take someone else's seat. There is room for everyone. You know? Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I had a good one. It was, don't build a bigger fence from your neighbors, build a bigger table.
No, that's cool. I like that.
You can use that in your movie if you want. But anyway, let's wrap things up. It's Fashion Week, for goodness sake, and you got preps to make tonight. I'll leave you to it. Thanks for being on the show again.
Thank you for coming.
And I look forward to next time already.
Yes, thank you.
There you have it. That was Caroline de Maigret. And now I'm joined in the studio by Bertrand.
Salut.
Salut, ça va?
Ouais.
From My Private Paris is what I was about to say. In the intro, you mentioned Victor Hugo. I had no idea he was kicking around in the 9th.
Well, Victor Hugo has lived in many places in Paris.
Right.
But in the 9th arrondissement, he was one of the familiar of this area. It's a part of the 9th arrondissement. We call in French La Nouvelle Athènes.
The New Athens.
The New Athens. It was named this way for the style of the buildings.
Right. Not the big Acropolis?
No. Well, kind of. It's kind of this revival of a classic or neoclassic architecture. But it was also a place where you would go. I think you would have gone there.
Me
Oliver.
personally?
Yes.
What do you, in the 19th century?
Yes, because it was the place where you would meet interesting people. I mean, you could not find a guest for your podcast on Instagram back then.
That's funny. Well, I found today's guest, Caroline, in the Nouvelle Athènes, I guess.
You see? That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Okay.
But so the 9th arrondissement, it was attractive for artists because you had, it was like a colony of artists. So, you know, if your friends live there, you go live there. But also because there was interesting muses to be found there, and their name was les Lorettes.
Lorette.
Yes.
There's a street there.
Yes, exactly. There's a street named Notre-Dame de Lorette.
That's right.
Because it's named after the church, Notre-Dame de Lorette, that was being built at that time. And let's say that, you know, when night comes, some ladies were walking around the church and offering some entertainment.
Ladies of the night, you mean?
Ladies of the night.
Okay, let's get it straight. When you say entertainment, are we talking about SEX or are we talking about...
No, we're talking about SEX. Yes.
And Lorette was a word for the women?
Was the
and
nickname?
the church.
It was the nickname of... No. Let's be clear. It's the name of the church,
right.
period.
Yeah.
But then the ladies of the night working around that church were nicknamed les Lorettes.
Oh, nice.
Okay, there were plenty of nicknames for sex workers back then. And one of the most famous women in the Paris society of the 1800s actually started a career as a Lorette and became one of the wealthiest women in the whole country. Her name was Esther. She was from Russia, and she moved to Paris because it was the city to be. It was the sparkling city of light with all the artists living there, etc. And from a streetwalker, she became the most famous courtesan of the 1800s. To explain that a little bit, in the 1800s, you have this ambiguity, let's say, if not hypocrisy, where the very, very wealthy bourgeois men will marry women that had to stay home and keep their virtue, while they would spend some time in pleasure houses and with dancers of the opera, etc.
Right.
And it became a thing, almost a business advantage to have a famous mistress.
Wow.
Okay, and so this Esther was actually married some kind of a fake Portuguese count whose mother name was Paiva, and so she was known in the Paris society as the Comtesse de la Paiva. She became incredibly famous. She got her first husband bankrupt, and she got all the money.
Right.
And she had a beautiful private mansion built for her in the 9th district.
Can we still find it?
You can still find it, yeah. You exit at Métro Saint-Georges.
Okay.
You see, you have this little round plaza.
Yeah,
and
beautiful.
It's there.
Is it the big one
Yeah.
directly there?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so nice. And the
It is.
sun comes and hits it in the afternoon.
It's beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
Can you imagine? So that guy was so madly in love, or that's what I thought, of this public figure that she was, married her, and then the next day she said, "You go back to Portugal, and I keep the money."
And the house.
And the house.
Wow.
She eventually then became the mistress of the cousin of a famous German guy called Bismarck. When the first husband... the marriage was annulled. She then married that Prussian ex-German count. He was a billionaire, and for her, he had another mansion built on the Champs-Élysées. You walked by it last week.
I met your colleague there last week in the 8th, yeah?
And it's called Hôtel de la Paiva, and it's now the headquarters of the Travelers Club.
Of the which club?
Travelers Club?
Oh, I don't know where that is.
It's a gentleman club.
Oh, yeah, that's probably
I'll try to introduce you someday.
I keep hanging around New Athens all the time. I'm not sure.
But it's really the Paris of that time that has inspired all. I mean, if you've seen the Toulouse-Lautrec exhibition at the moment, where you have all the Cancan dancers, the Moulin Rouge, etc.
Sure.
So this society of super rich men in Paris having a blast by the opera, by the cabarets, etc. And you have all these, kept women that made money and made sometimes like this Paiva.
Interesting.
Really big fortunes.
And
so
that-
the 9th district is really excellent for stories like this because it's the heart of this Paris of courtesans, which is always a very fun tour to give.
I can imagine. So you do tours up around there as well?
Yes, we do. You have actually still sites you can visit. They are now mostly hotels.
Sure.
But they used to be luxury brothels.
And do you know what that Saint-Georges mansion is now?
Yes, it's some. It's an institution, like a bank, something.
Yeah, boring.
Not as fun as
Yeah.
the Paiva.
Is it true that you've brought in some kind of pastry today?
I have.
For people who are
Because
listening...
I always do.
That's what I was going to say. People listening to the first time to the Eiffel Tower podcast. So Bertrand came in for... I'm going through all the arrondissements. You surely knew that by now. So you were in here for the first 4, I think?
I
Yeah.
was here 2, 3, 4.
2, 3, 4. That's right. That's right. And you brought in
7.
pastries. Yeah, that's right.
7, I brought cheese. I'm sorry.
And your colleague, Marie, when she comes in empty-handed.
Yeah, but she's the heart.
She's the heart of the company.
Don't forget, I'm
but
the one
empty.
feeding you.
So what have you got today?
Well, we...
I didn't ask him to do this for everyone at home, by the way.
No. And...
This is just the kindness of his brain.
Yeah, and we share, so it's also for myself. I've brought actually a piece of pastry that was invented here in Paris, and it's connected to the 9th arrondissement.
It's very
because
nicely wrapped.
It's called an opéra.
Ah, wow.
Opéra, it's mostly a chocolate cake with layers. You can have a look.
Oh, it's very beautifully done.
Don't have a bite yet because
It's very big.
We're going to share. Yeah, it has nothing to do with the size of a child's hand or whatever.
That's what I
Okay.
said in the first episode. It's about the size of it's about the size of 2 king-size Snickers bars on top of each other.
Oh, again.
It is.
I think last time you said a Mars bar.
Yeah, I know. I changed it, but it's also got coffee beans on the top.
Yeah, chocolate beans.
Chocolate beans.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
So it's an opera because obviously the opera is the greatest landmark in that area.
Sure. And it looks like a millefeuille.
It is. It's the same principle of multiple layers. You have a bit of paste, and then you have cream and chocolate, and it's actually delicious. But if you see the facade of the opera, you also have these layers of different styles.
Interesting.
And so it was nicknamed after it.
Well, that's beautiful. I think I will. I think we should have breakfast and eat it.
Let's have breakfast.
I'll take a picture and share it with everyone at home. But you've been listening to Bertrand from My Private Paris. Check them out, myprivateparis.com. There'll be a link down below. And Bertrand, I'll see you for the 10th arrondissement.
Yes.
One of
I will
my
be there.
favorite districts.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about it then.
I'll see you next week.